So here we have a CYMA AK-47. Now, several people have asked in the past about taking these apart, and I said, well, eventually I might, but I wasn't just going to tear one apart unless I had some ideas for customizing, and I do now, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a video. Now, you can see I've removed everything. This kind of takes a while, but I'm certainly going to talk you through what you need to do. So, initially, this is on the end of the barrel, and there is a tiny little screw that goes through this into your tip. So you're going to take that out, and then there's another one down the barrel right here, and you're going to take that out. Now I usually put everything back where it goes so that when I go to put it together, everything's back, all the screws are back where they need to be, right? So you'll take that out, and that'll allow you to slide that off. That'll allow you to lift these off, right? Because that's kind of what was holding those in place, was this piece, holding the top, and this piece holding the bottom. So once you remove those screws, you can get the handguard portion and the tip off, right? So go ahead and do that, and then you move it out of the way. Now, when it comes to this piece, right, this is a bit more labor intensive. Obviously, we're going to take the dust cover off, and then we're going to go ahead and take this spring out. So I believe somebody had some specific questions about how this goes back in here. It just goes back in here like, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that this little piece right here that sticks down is back in this section, because then this spring is what is going to allow that blowback, right? So, but to remove it, there's a tiny Allen wrench, little screw right there. So you unscrew that, and then you can go ahead and pop this out, okay? And I would just leave it together like this, but for whoever, there was somebody who wanted to know about this, I believe. You see how that goes? This is how it's set up in here, right? And then this black piece, that little tail, goes in here, and then this front end right here sticks into that hole at the front end of that, okay? Or at the back end of that, excuse me. So I put the little Allen wrench screw back in so I won't lose that, and that can go over here with the dust cover. Now, we got a lot of screws to take out to get this out. Okay, first, there's 4 on the bottom. There's 2 right here, and then there's 2 back here. Okay? And then you've got screws here. You've got a screw here that lets you lift that piece out. Not sure if that's critical. You got some screws here, and this screw here. That metal piece right there is important because that has a little bump in it, basically, that goes inside. There's a hole in the barrel, and that's kind of what locks this barrel in place. So you're going to remove all those screws, and then these were those bottom screws I talked about. That's going to let you then pull this barrel out, and then you're going to end up with just this piece inside here. So when it comes to that piece, the only thing you need to do is this little switch that's for the priming. That actually resides right in that little notch. So you're just going to have to carefully kind of pop it out. I just used a tool like this, got underneath it, and just kind of pulled it out like that. Okay? So that's how you get all that out. Now, with this CYMA, I'm not going to do anything to upgrade performance. I've had bad luck with CYMA when you go ahead and put bigger springs in them if they don't have metal gears. And I really just don't enjoy putting metal gears in. So unless something's broken, I typically won't, just because I'm not patient and it's not fun. And so if it's not fun for me, I don't really want to do it. I took the stock off because there's a cool adapter I'm going to put on that. But say we wanted to take the whole gearbox out, okay? You got a screw here. You'd pull the handle off, all right? This piece right here, you'd pop off. There's a screw behind it. And then you should be able to, is there a pin here? There's no pin here, okay. Then you should be able to just go ahead and take the gearbox out. All right, you might need to remove the cage that's on the battery or on the motor and take the motor off first. It might come out all the way. I haven't taken this apart completely. There's a chance that you need to remove these screws here as well. Those might actually go into the gearbox. Not 100% sure. But the hardest part is just remember to pop this off, unscrew that. And then this one looks like that piece stays there, but there's a piece inside here, right, for the shot selector that piece might fall. So you just want to make sure you know where that goes back on the gearbox for when you put it back together. And if that does come off, if it doesn't stay attached to the gearbox, that can be a real pain to try to get in the right place when you put the gearbox back in. So just keep all that in mind. Definitely a little more complicated to open this one up to get at stuff than, like the Gen 8 M4 style blasters. So just a lot more screws going on. But like I said, I go ahead and put all of them back in where they belong, and that way I won't misplace them, hopefully. Otherwise, like a little baggie or something. And if you're worried about remembering, take pictures as you go just to make sure you don't forget where things go. But what I plan on doing with this is I recently did a JM12 AK-74U mod where I went ahead and put more of a, like an M4 HK AR style handguard on it with some 3D printed parts. And there's also a version that I can do with this. So that's what I'm planning on doing, is switching this up a little bit. Basically, there's a piece I can print that replaces this piece and has a threaded end on it that's for a barrel or handguard nut, And so then we can go to a different handguard. And then the piece I'm going to print back here for stock is going to allow me to put on a buffer tube. And then, of course, that's going to open up all kinds of different stocks that we could use. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful to hear what I did. Of course, once you slide the barrel off, then you can just take your inner barrel and you can take that right out. And you can see it's a very long one. Again, I don't think I'm going to mess with replacing that with a metal barrel. If I have a T-piece, I might, but I don't really want to deal with getting that one off just because it's pretty time consuming and you can end up ruining it. So instead, I think I'm going to keep it pretty much stock. I just want to do some customizing to it to make it look cool. And my goal is to do the customizing so that I don't do anything that affects the actual blaster. So all the stock pieces will be able to be returned to it if you ever wanted to return it after the fact. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Anyway, so that's the CYMA AK-47. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. Hopefully the guy who was really interested in how that spring works has a little better understanding of that now. If he's still, watching videos, he might be fed up because he asked a couple times and I didn't do it because I didn't have any project to do with this one yet. So anyway, comments or questions, post them below. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and participate in those monthly giveaways. Thanks.